Good evening, Bethany family. It's that
What up,
time
dude?
again. It's time for the recap. Recap. And
Mhm.
as you guys can see, we have a special guest here again. It's not his first time with the crew, so he knows how we get up here and we act up, a little bit. Millennials like to have fun up here, but we do have a special guest, Reverend White. We want to thank you for joining us today.
Good,
Hey.
good Reverend? Good Reverend.
Rev right here. Oh, sorry for the static, guys. And then also we have the our amazing panel each and every Monday at 5:30 is the recap with Sister Maya, our social media director, who does
Hey,
it
Dad.
so flawlessly.
Mhm.
And then we have Sister Des underneath of her. Sister Des is that's my yin to the yang. It's my shady partner. That's my girl. Sister Des, my yoga instructor. And then underneath me is my brother, the great old, oh, now he's next to me. Good old Deacon
Hey,
Antoine
y'all.
McGee. And if you guys do not know, my name is Brother Kevin Johnson, and it is time for a recap. But like I always say, before we get things started, before we start talking about everything, we always give you that time to just come on in and share this. As I keep saying each and every week, sharing is so important. And especially during this month, since it is Transform Our Lives Month, we are encouraging you guys to at least tag 3 people in all of our broadcasts throughout the week, as well as sharing with them and letting them know what's going on. Because, Bethany is a church that never sleeps. And it's not just because I love my church and, this is my church home. We literally are a church that never sleeps. So there's something that goes on each and every day. And we want to transform lives as we go into this new season. So we are encouraging you guys to please, 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 please share this live as well as invite someone in. And not only that, we want to know where you're tuning in from. So good evening, everyone. I want you guys to spam in the comments right now where you're tuning in from, if you're from down south, 5 minutes away from here or across the world. Let us know what's going on and how you're feeling. So, as people are starting to come in and let us know how they're feeling and where they're tuning in from, how are you guys feeling? How was this weekend for you guys? How are you guys enjoying this Monday, this, little chilly, cloudy Monday today?
Yeah, it's cold.
Mhm. It's cool.
It's
Is it cold?
out.
I haven't been outdoors, so I
Oh,
didn't
well, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
You are enjoying the inside heat.
Yeah,
It's wintertime though, so it's supposed to be cold. Let's kill all the germs. Kill all the
Right,
germs.
right.
yeah,
I
kill them
mean, I
all.
guess so.
Right,
Maya's
right.
like, no,
I'm
no.
not
No.
for it.
Well, y'all know I love the cold. This is boot weather, jacket weather, coat weather. I love this type of weather.
Yeah,
Um,
sweater.
You said it about fall too now.
I know that they're the best seasons, because with cold weather you can, layer up with, hot weather. You can only take off with so much, especially like when you're at work and stuff like that. I do not like being hot. I am not a happy
Yeah.
camper when it's hot.
Yeah,
So I love the summer when I'm, on vacation or something like that.
there you go.
Right.
Rev White, how you feeling back being on the recap? We are so happy to have you
Back
back
on the
here, sir.
recap. It's good to see y'all. Saw y'all. Well, I saw y'all yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Y'all were walking out and I was walking in. But it's good to see everybody. Trust that everybody's staying safe and
Mhm.
God's continue to bless you as we're into this new year of restoration, revival, and reverso.
Come
Oh,
on,
We in this
I
thing.
like,
Wow.
I like it in the background. I'm loving it. So, Rev, is this something that you like write down? Like, are you one of those individuals that like need to write things down, like as to see it, to like, because
Yeah.
I'm a visual
I'm
person, so I
I,
like to
I,
write things down.
I am a visual person. On my computer screen for work, I have this saying that says "Enjoy the journey," because you never know what
Mhm.
day is going to happen, and
that's
God's got us
good.
all on this journey. And even when you get upset or you get a little anxious or you get frustrated, you just look at this, say, okay, just part of the journey. So let me enjoy the journey. So yeah, I am a
Yeah.
visual person, just like you are,
Yeah, I
just like
love
you are,
that. I
Kevin.
love that. You just have to like write those things down, and when you write them down, like you see it. And as you guys can see, we have Sister Dad. She was having some technical issues. Now she's back, all nice and comfy in her nice comfy
Oh, it must be
sweater.
really cold. She got snuggle over there.
She
What
looks
is
like
that?
she's sinking in.
What is it? It's a snuggly. What is that?
It's
What is it?
called a comfy.
A comfy. All right. Well, you
It's
look
called it's
comfortable.
called a comfy.
Awesome. And I just want to shout out some people. Keisha, I see you from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Hey,
Keefe, I see
Keisha.
you Lawnside. Saw some other people. Miss Roman's here as always. Hey, Miss
Hey,
Roman.
Miss Roman.
We
Hey,
have
girl.
Miss Necktie from Cherry Hill. We
Helen
are.
from Cameroon.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh,
Hello,
wow.
Helen.
Hi.
Come on. So we are so happy you guys are coming on in. Let us know how you guys are feeling. As always, like we do each and every week, we recap this word, and this sermon has just been a blessing. But speaking of being a blessing, I want to remind you guys that this month not only is it a special an important month about transforming lives, but it's also special because we are celebrating the man of God, our leader, Bishop David G. Evans, as he celebrates his 69th birthday, right? If we were in person, we will be having a celebration each week of this month, but we still want to have that celebration each week of this month virtually as well, right? So we encourage you guys as we prepare to celebrate Bishop's birthday at the end of this month. We want you guys to submit any happy birthday request that you have. So it could be with your family, it could just be yourself, right? We want to flood Bishop with all these videos to let him know that we love him. And especially, it's so important, like Deacon Antoine said on Engage yesterday, it's so important to have a strong leader during this time, especially carrying us on his back, during these hard months. I can't even imagine how it is to be a leader of a church during this time of everything that's going on in this world and keeping people encouraged. So I can only imagine what Bishop goes through. So we want to definitely celebrate him, celebrate the man of God, because he continues to be a blessing with us as he is blessing us with this new series in this new year. You guys want to add anything about Bishop's birthday celebration?
Don't forget you can give
Yes.
for his birthday celebration. We're doing $69, $1 per year. You can do it on Givelify. You can do it on Text to Give. You can do it on the website. You can even mail your cards in or submit them even in the building, and we will make sure that Bishop gets those. This is our way of showing love and appreciation to our pastor in a very tangible way. And you can do more if you feel the need to.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just really want to stress and encourage for people to send in their birthday shout-out videos to social@godobethany.com. Like Kevin, you mentioned, Bishop does a lot for us day after day, and especially in these times that we are in now. Like, Bishop is amazing, so we really just want to make sure that we show our love and appreciation for him through these shout-out videos. So don't wait till the last minute, please, because they have to be edited. We're trying to do a nice big video.
Celebrate him all month long.
Celebrate him.
All month long.
Record your videos and send them in now so that we can celebrate him.
Yes. Also, something I want to mention as well is, just this sermon in particular that sparked up something in me. I just want to remind you guys, we are in a new year, we are in a new season. And, as we do at the end of every year, we pray, we fast, as well as sow into this new year, which is called our first fruits, which we learned more about in this sermon this past Sunday. So I want to encourage you guys that if you have not, sown your first fruits, you still have time to do that on our Givelify, Text to Give, on our website, and especially learning about it more in depth about it, this weekend. Why first fruits is so important, and then talking about it in discussion, like, you just can't tell somebody about first fruits. They have to be taught about it biblically. So, we are definitely getting fed about that. So if you have not already given your first fruits, I encourage you guys, please, please, please take that time, take that moment to go and Givelify or Text to Give, or go on our website. All right. So panel, let's get ready. So Bishop has started a new series in this new season called Shift the Needle. And we started talking about it last week, right? But this sermon in particular, he talked about being blessed. He just titled it Blessed. That's it. When he said it, I was just like, mic drop. That's it. Right? So he came out of the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. And he said, the kingdom of God is a kingdom of relationships. And this scripture is talking to you about focus, and that focus being different than those that do not believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. As the word of God, through the power of the Holy Ghost and his word, begins to talk to us about focus, it says, seek me first. So now we see focus and we see priority. Also, we see the word seek, which is a key to our understanding that this is not a one-time endeavor, but that you continually seek him, prioritize him, and stay focused on him. Seek ye first in everything, prioritize our focus on the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Doing the things what doing the things that are right in the kingdom, understanding who you are in the kingdom, building your relationship with God each and every day to the point that you seek God first. He is your priority. So, like I say, each and every week, panel, what are your initial thoughts about this Shift the Needle series? I know we're already our second week in, but how are you guys feeling about it? What are some things that stood out to you with this
Yeah.
sermon, or something last week, or it could be something with the discussion that we had on Engage Live yesterday?
Yeah. I really feel like with every sermon series that Bishop does, like he'll say something that really makes you have to reflect and think
Mm-hmm.
about,
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And like when
Yes.
he said your focus reveals your priority or something along those lines,
Yes.
it was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, is
Mm-hmm.
God really my focus? Because am I making him my priority? That like that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm. I think
I love this series so far.
you gave a question to the panel right there. We gonna have to say that. But go ahead.
For me, it was an opportunity to, like Maya said, also shift focus. And it opened up my eyes to how important first things first really are. Even the God, like we've heard about first fruits before, but I believe Bishop found a brand new revelation that we never heard before, and I'm sure we'll get into it. That kind of was just like, okay, if I don't do this,
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen, and we wanted to make. He's making sure that we're ready to have that blessed life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Sister Des, Rev White, would you like to add?
Sister Des, go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say the one thing that Bishop said that really stuck with me is when he was talking about Jericho, and
Mm-hmm.
what I thought of, I was like, how many times have I stayed in Jericho when God told me like this is not where you're supposed to be? You're supposed like this is only the beginning.
Yes.
So I was very it had to do some reflection in that like
Mm-hmm.
when did I just stay in the first and not expect more?
Wow.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like that.
that's good.
Wow.
That's real good. And
Ooh.
that word that seek, that word that Bishop used, is, the way he articulates things, he makes it so easily applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Seek, and I started thinking, what are the things I've sought after, whether it was a job or education or my wife or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the intensity after under which I sought after that thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and God just wants us to have that same intensity with him, that we're
Right.
always seeking it. And we all know from experience, the more we seek, the more we understand. The more we seek, the more wisdom we get.
Right.
That wisdom then allows us to live a life that is closely related to him.
Right.
And just the simpleness of seeking is
Yes.
is so powerful. Sometimes we want something, but many times we move through those stages. I wish, I want to, I'm willing, and I will. God just wants us to do the I will. Forget about the
Yes.
willing and want to and wish. Just get to the I will, and it makes things a lot
Yes.
easier.
I like that. I like that. So you guys all bring up important parts about, what are we focused on? That word seek, as well as making God first. This is the central theme of this sermon right now is, prioritizing God and where he's at in your life. So let me ask you, how do you believe that this sermon in particular, how is it laying the foundation for this new year or this new season in your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
There's a lot going on.
yeah, I was
But
about to say
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot, but in my opinion, based off of the New Year's message that we got, and things that I've been hearing in the faith community from other leaders as well, is that this year is God's year. This is the year that God wants to do a lot of things if we keep him first. We have the potential for this year to be our greatest year if it's our greatest spiritual year. So
Right.
we want to make sure, that the main thing that gets us tricked up on is putting him first, because a lot
Right.
of times we'll move without his, without seeking his wisdom, or we'll spend something without saying, okay, does God really want me to spend this money? Because then I know, in my own opinion, I'm gonna be transparent, I've spent money and was like, ooh, I shouldn't have spent that, because then I needed it for something else. So,
Right.
seeking wisdom even in those aspects is going to be very important, because he wants to do something amazing in each of our lives, and we just have to be ready.
I like that. I like that. Does anyone else want to add to?
Well, I was just gonna say there's a lot going on, and if we're not careful, we can become distracted, whether it be by politics, still coming off, and having to deal with the coronavirus, and anything that is coming to challenge us, in this year. So I think it's important that we keep focused, because I feel like in those times where maybe money might be tight, that's when we want to hold on to our ties a little harder, right?
Yeah.
So just making sure that we're still prioritizing God, and keeping focused on Him despite everything. We're only 11 days into 2021, and it's already been a lot. So yeah, I think this message is perfect for the season that we're in right now.
I like that. Sister Des, Rev White, would you like to add to it?
It's just been pretty crazy, as Sister Maya said, this first part of the year, and putting God first, certainly in our giving and in our time and in our talent, as Bishop has preached on years ago. It's not so much what we get, as although that is a condition of putting Him first, right? But it's just because He deserves to be first. Right. And then once we do that, we get the joy, we get the peace, we get the provision, we get all those things that aren't there if we're not putting Him first.
Yeah,
I like that. Sister Des, did you want to add, Sister Des? Good. So when you are focused, it gives you an indication of where your heart is focused. This is because whatever you are focused on has the attention of your heart. Your focus dictates your behavior in any relationship. So we find ourselves being committed to the right people in the past and the wrong people in the past, which our focus directed our energy and our behavior. Our commitment and our honor is placed in the individual or that thing. God says that He wants us to prioritize Him, which He wants us to seek the kingdom of God first and His righteousness. The text implies that there is a righteousness that is an opinion, and there is a righteousness that is a fact. So yesterday during Engage Live, Rev Wright already alluded to it. Bishop and Pastor Nick discussed putting God first in your time, talent, and treasure. And that's a series that we learned years ago, but Pastor Nick brought it back up. And I thought it was a great way to look at it as well, just especially for the discussion piece. So let me ask you guys, do you believe that individuals are only putting God first in certain areas of their lives? If so, explain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're all guilty of it in multiple ways. I know I can only speak for myself. It'll be certain times where, I wake up early and I know I should pray.
Yeah.
I know I should be praying while I'm up probably 20, 30 minutes before my alarm, but I'll just lay. When I could have gave Him the first moments of my day. And then I'm rushing, and then I'm doing a quick prayer from the commute from my house and my job, and thinking that would suffice enough for the day, for that part of the day. And it's not, when it comes to time, He wants that first of our time as well, knowing that we carved out special time for Him, throughout the aspects of the day. It could be the first hours in the morning, first hours in your afternoon, first hours in your evening. And you just give it to Him. But, a lot of times we don't, because we were like, oh yeah, I'll pray in a little bit. Yeah, I'll pray before I go to sleep. But not being obedient to the unction that's in your heart to pray. That's how we don't keep Him first.
Yeah. And something that we were taught, I think that we get taught all the time, but I forget what series in particular it was, but learning that like doing those things, giving God the praise and all that, don't look at it like it's a job or like, you know, it should just come naturally, you know.
Yeah, it's
just
an opportunity.
like it's an opportunity to fellowship with him, just an opportunity to just talk to him. Sometimes I feel like we don't look at it like it's an opportunity. Like like you're being full transparent, Deacon. Like sometimes, you know, it's hard to pray in the morning, but it's not hard to get on your phone and check social media.
Well, say
There
it, say it, say
There
it.
Right?
it is. That's the first thing I grab.
You know, and I'm guilty of that at times. So that's
Mhm.
why, like, you know, sometimes you gotta, when it comes to where Bishop's like, you gotta, that focus comes within your heart, because if your heart guides your focus, then you're gonna be focused on God, because that's who you love and that's who has your heart, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about that? About, you know, people putting God in certain areas of their lives.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we become too comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes we're not uncomfortable enough. Let me back up to explain a little bit.
Go ahead.
We're comfortable that God is always going to be there, and in such we take him for granted, where he's not the first person that we're running to.
Oh my.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're uncomfortable, we don't want to prioritize, again, when it comes to tithing, because, you know, money's tight. I need to hold on to this.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. That comfortability piece for me is one of those things that I feel like, depending on where you are with that, that's going to kind of dictate, you know, that aspect of how you relate with God.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Sister Desbra White, would you like to add to that? Do you believe that individuals are only putting God first in certain areas of their lives? And if so, explain.
Absolutely. I know personally for myself, it's like either you're going to trust God with everything or you're not, you know? So it's like, I'll trust you with, you know, making sure that I have food, but I won't trust you to heal my body. Or I trust you to give me housing, but I don't trust you with my relationships. So it's like, how do you pick and choose where God gets to, what part of your life God gets to dwell in? Is like either he's in every aspect of it, or he's not, you know. So I know that that's something that I'm trying to work through, like trusting him in all areas, trusting him in everything, because there are many times where I'm like, oh, I got this part, you know. It's like, no, he needs to have this part too, you know. So yeah, that's definitely something that is something that I'm working on and working through, is like releasing it all, because there are different things you want to control where God's like, no, I have this too, like trust me here also, you know.
Right.
But I think that can come from, if you're like if you've been hurt in different areas, you might not have as much trust because of that hurt area, you know. So for me, like relationship might be an area that is like, I don't trust anybody. I'm gonna hold on to whatever it is that I can control, because I'm not gonna trust you in this area, you know. So it's like, whereas with my food, it's like food has always been provided, food always comes. So, you know, but
That's
yeah,
good.
so just learning, you know.
That's good. That's good. Rev White. Rev White be having the knowledge.
I think all of that was just wonderful, right? I think all was just wonderful. The only thing that you know, Bishop has talked about it so many times, and you know, and I've learned so much from him, that when you know, God gives us an instruction manual on how to engage him and how to go through this life and walk. But when we want to say, I got this, he's like, okay, you got it, go ahead. You know, he's not going to make us do anything, but he wants us to do it. And every time I said I got it, I didn't have it. You know, I really didn't have it. But that's that internal battle. You know, most of us, we all got at least two people inside of us, right? Maybe like Antoine may have 3 or 4. Deacon 20.
Oh boy.
But that other person wants to come out. I mean, we talked about it last time, but there's two people. I know there's at least two. There's Rich, and then there's Richard. And Richard's not the one you want out. You want Rich to be there, and and it's part of me. But I have to understand that and deal with it and let Rich, lean on God when Richard wants to go ahead and do it, whatever he want to do.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And those that are just tuning in, again, we're recapping Sunday's word. Bishop titled the sermon "Blessed." I see people coming in. Hey, JoJo.
Hey, Jody.
And
Sister Rosie.
And Sister Rosie, I see you. Good evening, guys. So Bishop said you cannot shift the needle unless there is a kingdom, a God priority in your life. This God priority requires not only do we seek the kingdom, but we seek to learn his righteousness. This is because we learned that the Old Testament examples are blueprints for kingdom behavior, meaning what's right and what's wrong. Those examples give us a mindset. The example was a teacher teaching the student what the student needs to know based on what the teacher knows has already been promised to the student. There are some things that are already laid up for us that when we get the first revelation, the invisible kingdom and the workings of the kingdom will open to us in such a way like we've never seen before. It will be a revelation of the kingdom and how God responds to the person that has prioritized him in their lives. So let me ask you, panel, are we creating our own blueprints for kingdom behavior instead of seeking his righteousness from the Old Testament examples?
One more time.
Are we creating our own blueprints for kingdom behavior instead of seeking his righteousness from the Old Testament examples?
Yeah, most certainly we are, right? It's
Absolutely.
and that's what we have to accept. We have to understand that we are. We're God is justifiably righteous. Whatever he does is right. There's no wrong. So how do we make sure that we use those Old Testament examples in this New Testament, present day that we're living in, such that we understand the basis of why it's there, and also understand the gift that we've been given from the price that Jesus paid for us. But we have to stay in it because it's so easy, wide is the road, and narrow, we have to stay in that thing because it's easy to get off track.
Right. So do you think that like the people that we hang around, our environment and everything, they influence us creating our own blueprints called life?
I'll just say, as you get older, and I'm much older than all y'all young folks, I think it's more. It's not the folks that are surrounding me. It's me. The peer pressure diminishes pretty early in life. It's me.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Deacon, Sister Maya, Sister Des, what do you think about creating our own blueprints? Go ahead, Sister Maya.
I agree with everything that Reverend White said. And, I said this before, like birds of a feather flock together. You reach people who you identify with, right? That's who your friends are. So, like Reverend White said, it's not them, it's you who is influencing that path that you're on.
All right. I like that. Sister Des, Deacon.
Goodness.
Des has that look.
I wasn't sure. I was waiting for my moment to talk because my phone keeps going in and out. So I was just like, I don't want to talk over anybody. No, I definitely do think that we create our own rules, and we go, a lot of times our rules are contradicting to what was actually said, and they don't align, and we try to make justifications for them. And so I think that's kind of a big struggle that a lot of, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that's a struggle sometimes that I have, that I'm just like, well, this is okay, right? But it's like, no, there's a clear marker that this is not what you should be doing. But
right.
or if you see if you see other, if you see other Christians doing X, Y, or Z, it's like, oh, this must be okay, because that whole thing, even though it's faith-filled people, it's like, oh, everybody else is doing it. It's like, no, it's just because other people are doing it doesn't mean that it's still not wrong or still not something you shouldn't be doing or saying or whatever. So I absolutely think that we create our own rules and we try to justify them and try to try to play God sometimes. Like try to play him like God is it's you gonna let this one go, right? But Bishop says,
you gonna let this one slide.
Just gotta, like, so,
no, that's so true. And it reminds me of like we're all in a kindergarten class, right? And if one kid see one kid doing something, then all the kids want to do it, right? So it's kind of like we always are like children, and we are a child of God. So we all act like that. And like Sister Rosie said, it's a daily struggle. I think that we all do that. Like, okay, we justify like, oh, this isn't as bad as this, or we can do this, God. You're going, like you said, Sister Deb, we're gonna get away with this. Like
there's worse sins out here, not the one I'm doing, like.
Right. I like that. Yeah. Deacon, did you want to add to that?
Honestly, probably nothing else I need to say. I mean, ditto, and ditto. Three dittos. I agree. I think the main thing for me is we forget to acknowledge him in everything that we do, which is why our blueprints are all over the place. And then we also just tend to be in our own space. We are intentionally rebellious at heart most of the time. So we struggle, like Sister Rosie said, we struggle with the things of God. Paul said, the good that I would do, I don't do, but the evil I say I'm not going to do, I end up doing. Just because there's as Bishop says, a bent in us, that we're more inclined to do the bad than the good. And it's unfortunate, but there are ways for us to reprogram, such as this message, putting first things first, shipping and moving.
First things first. So Bishop says that we need to understand this principle of first things. In the upcoming weeks, Bishop is going to show us what we have to do in 2021 to not only be a blessing, but be blessed. He stated that there is going to be a physical manifestation when we put God first, prioritize him, and focus on him, so our hearts are with him, and watch supernatural response from the kingdom regarding the things in your life. Bishop is going to show us how to shift the needle in your life so that you walk around not just thinking you're blessed as a concept, but knowing that you are blessed, right? So let me ask you guys, do you believe that fear hinders an individual's relationship with God in prioritizing him? Like, such as they don't think they may be worthy enough to have that good relationship with God, or they're afraid of, if they do put him first in certain things, that they can't predict the outcome. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, fear is part of it. It holds us back sometimes. It cripples us from taking that leap of faith. I think, yeah. I really think that is true. Like, fear is at the root of some of these things. And sometimes it's the unbelief too. But fear is definitely at the root of most of our holding back from God. Because we don't know what's going to happen, based off of, how people will treat us if we go all in, that persecution piece. We don't want to deal with that.
Okay, I like that. Anybody else want to add to that?
I think it's piggyback off of that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I can't tell. I'm sorry.
All right.
I would just piggyback off of Ant. I definitely do think that fear plays a big part of, like, giving all of yourself to God, because I know if for being completely transparent, right? If I give everything to God, I don't have any control over anything. I don't have any control over the outcome, right? Not only does my fear come into play, but also that faith and and then that mirror of unfaithfulness comes in, because it's like, well, do I not trust God enough to he says, like his word says that, if I believe in him, then everything's gonna work out for my good, right? But what if I give everything I have and then, end up like Job or something like that? But it's like it all turned around, it worked out for him, but you still get fearful of those moments of like, okay, what if God really brings me through the ringer? I'm not even gonna deal with that. So yeah, it's like being honest with yourself too, like being honest with yourself, being honest with God, like, God, I want to give everything to you. Help me, and like asking for that, asking for, help me to have more faith in you so that I don't have fear when it comes to you having control over my life, because I know for me, like I feel like I need to, it's like I can give God like I'm gonna give you like a good 87%, but that last little bit, I'm like, just in case. And it's like there shouldn't be a just in case, so yeah, that's all I have to say.
I
agree. And also, one of the things the bishop said yesterday was that there's no journey from captivity to promise without a season of wilderness, right? I think it's that wilderness that turns people off too from wanting to invest fully in trusting God. No one wants to go through that.
No, but we have to, right? We got to go through the wilderness. You got to go through to get to, right? And one thing that sometimes folks don't realize is, and it's real, is that some folks, they just have very low self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other folks have been told forever that they're going to be nothing. They ain't nothing. They never was nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a real feeling that some people have, and it makes it very fearful for them to trust God or trust anybody for that matter, because number one, they may just have a low self-esteem, which can be built up through God, of course, or they've always been told that they were nothing, and that can have a significant impact on you, particularly your mental state. So that's why folks are here to help. That's why we got counseling at the church. That's why we have vehicles available for folks, because God loves us all, and he wants us all to be able to trust him because of something that we had nothing to do with, that has impacted our lives, right?
Yes, I like that, Rev White. So true. So 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 23 tells us all about Jesus being the first fruit of God. You have to understand that all a first fruit is simply putting God first and giving God the first of everything we receive. We don't give him leftover praise. We don't give him leftover worship. We don't give him leftover time to pray, nor leftover time to study. You prioritize your relationship with God so that the righteousness of God becomes your righteousness. God gave Jesus first, and then there was a response from humanity. Bishop stated that he had to give Jesus because God's first fruit is Christ himself. So I just want to hear about your experience with first fruits, because like I said, we just did sow our first fruits, and first fruits means a lot to a lot of different people, right? So if you could share if you feel comfortable sharing your first fruits experience, like going into it. I know you may have been nervous, but like going into that new year when you sowed that first fruits, how did you see your life like impacted and everything, especially by putting God first?
I think the one time that I've done it, but the one time I did it with like fervency and real intensity, I was 2018 going into 2019. I think the amount was probably like 125 or something like that. I think it was. And I remember it being announced at the beginning of December. And at the time, I wasn't making a lot of money. So I started saving a little bit at a time to get that 125. And every time I would put money in there, I said, God, this is for you. God, this is for you. God, this is for you. And I was believing God for a lot of things in 2019, and sold it. And probably a few weeks later, God opened the door for employment. He opened the door for, different things for me to have access to, and that I still have access to that I didn't have before because I intentionally put him first. I gave him exactly what was, what was precious to me. That $125 could have went a long way back in 2018, 2019. But I was like, okay, you've been good to me, in spite of everything.
Yeah.
And I trust you. I trust you at the beginning of the year, and I also gave another, tithe towards the middle and so forth and so on to bless the rest of the year. But that was probably the one time that I can actually recall that it was like, boom, you tapped into it and you got it.
I like that. I like that. Who else wants to share?
Go ahead, ladies.
Okay. No, it was funny because I was thinking, this year, like the difference from when I first gave my first fruits to this year.
Mhm.
First time, like beginning of 2020, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Felt a little hesitant and anxious about it. But that experience and all the ones leading up to this year showed that God provided, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I didn't think, that I would be able to make it, I did. And then some, employment, contracts, whatever, he still provided for me. And I do contribute that to the faith that I had and, giving my first fruits.
I like that. I like that. Sister Des?
I'll piggyback off of that. I feel like it's like rollover minutes or something, like rollover blessings, No, seriously, because it not even just the first fruit of this year is gonna carry, is already the seed that's been planted for what's to come. But the fruits that I've already sown in previous times and being obedient when Bishop has said to sow in, or when I've just felt the need to sow in, like just being obedient to his word, to God's word, is just like what Maya said, is like when I didn't think I was going to make it, or when things started to seem like they were going to completely fall apart, it was just like, oh wait, here's that here's that part of what I promised you here, you know what I mean? Here's how I'm going to show up here. And I think that I feel like I might be contradicting myself because I just said that, like, I don't relinquish full control to God sometimes, but it's like in those times that I do, and those times that I don't think that I'm doing it, he shows up and is like, see, I told you, I got you,
Right.
So yeah, sewing is so crucial because, and I will admit, when I was like 1 foot in and 1 foot out type of Christian, I wasn't consistent with it, and I didn't think it was a big deal. Like, I was very much like, it's just money. Like, I was in that mindset of like, it's money. They just want money, all this other stuff. But it's like, no, like, this is legit. Like, it's a seed. It's like, you can see the growth of it, whether it's more abundance in financial blessings or just in growth in your spirit. Like, you see the outcome, you see the growing happening. At least I see it in my life. So now I'm like, oh, I get it now. It's not just cash. It's actually like, I'm actually giving something to God, to where I need to go, so yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Rev White?
I think they hit all of them very well.
Also.
Let all that marinate in everybody's minds right there.
And I will also say with the first fruits doesn't just only affect your life, it also affects those that are around you as well. I'll just say in my in my household, I've seen how either myself or my mom, how we sow our first fruits, and how it affects our family as well. Even family members that may not go to Bethany. So you're not just sowing for yourself, you're, like Pastor Nick finished our year off with, it's not all about me. It's not about me. It's about the community. It's about those that are connected to you. So don't just look at the first fruits as just your own growth. Look at the growth that's around you as well, because that, that will bring you blessings and bring you happiness as well. So we learned that Jericho was the doorway to promise. And in order for that doorway to open, a supernatural activity has to occur. They have to do something physical that represents something spiritual. So they obey the instruction to accompany the city, where when they get to the final day, they blow their horns, the people shout, and the walls fall flat. This is an example of a supernatural result from an unspectacular action. In order to get the victory or the first fruit of promise called Jericho, the people have to do something that does not appear to be spectacular, but is absolutely supernatural. So let me ask you guys, do you believe that we live in a culture that expects immediate results instead of trusting the process, which may affect trusting and believing God?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I had to ask it. Right. So what do you think contributes to that? Like, now that we're in this remote era where we're all using technology and everything, we're using social media. Like, what do you think contributes to that culture mindset that, we need immediate results instead of, especially being Christians, instead of trusting the process?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lack of knowledge. But go ahead, Maya. I'll finish.
You finish. No,
Okay.
You go.
Now, I think it's a lack of knowledge. We don't really fully understand. The reason why we don't appreciate the process is because we don't understand the process. Just like I'll use food just because I'm getting hungry. But you appreciate more a home cooked meal because there's a process to it. It may take, grandmom a day or two to prepare, your steak or whatever, because she wants to marinate it. She wants to make sure all her ingredients are there and mix everything in, and it has that love into it. Versus I go to McDonald's or Burger King and I order it right there, get to the window, it's done. Right? It's done. There's not a long time, but let there be a long time when I'm in line at Burger King, I get impatient. So, understanding that the things of God has love in it, the process of God has love in it. It's to prepare you for your promise, prepare you for your prayer request, prepare you for your petition. So we have to understand that while we're in the process, he's loving on us. And sometimes it may not feel like it's love, but he's loving on us to get us ready for that next debut, to enjoy the meal that he's prepared for us. And I think it's definitely a lack of knowledge why we just want everything immediately, because the immediate things fade.
Thank you, Deacon. Does anybody want to add to that?
I think that was well said, and I like the culinary analogy that Deacon Twan put forth. But we certainly live in a instantaneous society. But anything that any of us, when we were born, we weren't the size that we were, right?
Right.
We know folks. Some of us have studied music. Some of us have been athletes. Some of us have been diligent, in our studies, or all the above, or have taken the time to save for something. There's something about the process that provides an appreciation for the result that folks want right away. That it just doesn't happen that way. And when you can, as Bishop has told us, to embrace the process, it does something to your ability to deal with whatever's coming next, because something else is coming next, and it's not, and you're going to have to deal with it. And if you're living in this world of instancy, it's going to hinder your ability to be successful in what it is God is doing in you as you go through the process, which goes right back to my enjoy the journey that's on my my screen right there. Right. There has to be a journey in order to get the result, that in order allows you to have some level of appreciation. Even this walk that we're in right now, in first fruits, I'm guilty. When I first started tithing, I wasn't tithing. I said, okay, well, 3% is good. All right, I'll give him 5. And I then I got to the point, I was like, what was I doing? Because I am an example of what it has. First fruits have benefited me, my family, those around me. Just that tithe is an important pack. It's not, and maybe initially it's because I was looking for something, and then maybe it's because I didn't want something to be taken away. But now it's just because it's right, because I love God and He's done so much for me. I can't even give Him I can't repay Him. It's not like I'm trying to repay Him, because I can't repay Him for what He's done for me. It's just inherent in my person that I have to do it. And I wish I would have done it from the beginning, but I didn't start off like that. I had to.
I like it.
And that's just being real.
I like that. So Jericho, the law of first things, is so significant to God that He gave particular instructions of how Jericho was supposed to be treated. What is significant about Jericho is Joshua chapter 6 is that Jericho is the first place to be conquered in the promised land. So Jericho is the first city among the many cities that God has promised to His people first. Not only was the first a key to fulfill promise, but Jericho was the key to God releasing them into or shifting a needle from their journey of slavery and wilderness into promise. What Bishop wants us to understand about the significant illustration is there is no journey from captivity to promise or manifestation. Sorry, I can get tongue-tied today without some wilderness. In the same sense, there is not a season of wilderness without God sustaining you by the miraculous. So let me ask you guys. I think this illustration this week was just impeccable with Jericho and the first fruits and everything. So what are your thoughts about Bishop using this illustration of Jericho to explain first fruits?
I never thought of it. That's the first thing. I never thought. Exactly. That's why he is the bishop. I never thought of Jericho being the first fruit of promise. I was sitting there like, oh, okay. This is the very first city, and it was important how they did it, because then if you read the rest of Joshua, there were some miraculous things that happened for them to conquer and obtain the rest of the promised land. But if I believe if they would have did that first city wrong and didn't follow specific instructions, they'd have messed up the process to getting the promised land as quickly and as rapidly as they did. So yeah, right on. Right on, Bishop.
I like that. This is why we love our bishop. We love our leadership, which is why we need to celebrate him and send those happy birthday wishes in, right? So Israel was not allowed to possess Jericho. Israel had to sacrifice Jericho because God's character cannot change. He can't see Jericho any differently than He sees it, and He sees it as the first city in the promise. So Jericho must be defeated because Jericho is the first fruit of Israel's promise. When we give God the first that He demands, it redeems the rest. When you redeem a thing, it is released from an undesirable condition. The first, which is Jericho, redeems the rest of the city. The first shows that doing what God told them about Jericho shows the focus of their heart and the focus of their minds manifested or revealed in their behavior. Bishop says that we have to ask ourselves, who are your friends going into this new season? Who are you liking and who are you loving? Or are they a bringer or are they a thief?
Oh my.
So panel, going into this new season, how are you assessing the group of people that you keep around you?
Who's going first in that one? Toxic series, right?
What'd you say?
I was saying, like, we just got out of the toxic series, right? So ideally, you've already have done or have begun an audit on the people around you, the people that you frequent with and different things like that. So bringing those people with you to the promised land, Ideally you were already doing the work, yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that?
It's not gonna be a lot of friends. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No. Go. Because you said exactly what I was about to say.
We were talking with our family last week, and it was like, I have very few friends. I have plenty of acquaintances, and many more. I have many more. I have many associates and numerous acquaintances. Some people in your life for a lifetime. Some people in your life, as Bishop said, I'm sorry, Bishop, I'm repeating all your stuff. It ain't mine. Some people in your life for a lifetime. Some people in your life for a season. Some people in your life for a moment, and that's okay. And that's just okay. So I think and it's real simple. You can tell who's toxic, as Sister Des is talking about, or who's really just an acquaintance that they just come in, you interact with them, and they keep on moving. Who's an associate, so it's intermittent, and who's really there for the long haul, and hit your wagon to that, right?
Right. You know what's so funny though? Like when we were in high school or even younger, we thought having a lot of friends was like the coolest thing.
That was the best thing.
Oh my gosh, it was the best thing. But the older you get, you see like, I don't have to worry about this person's issues. I don't have to worry about taking this person. Having a core group where you're just like, right on. It's just like, but I think like Sister Des says, we are just coming off the Toxic People series. And like I always say, I feel like these series, which I know that's what they're set up for. They're set up for us to build our character and just help us through our walk. And honestly, what we experienced last year in the series that we went through, I feel like it did a lot of, like Sister Des said, it did a lot of auditing, and it also brought me closer to other people as well. I always say this, our fresh family, our fresh group, like we've grown so close during this time, and it's helped us, inside the church and outside of church. So I think it's these series have really, and everything that we've been experiencing have been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that this series already, we're 2 weeks in, this series has been incredible. So if you guys have not already, I need you guys to go back and watch it and share it. It is Transforming Lives Month. We want you to share this word. This is such a beautiful and, crafty sermon series that is setting us up for this foundational month for us to be not only being a blessing, but to be blessed. I'm taking it from Bishop. This is the recap. We can recap his words. To be blessed during this season and going into this new year. So we encourage you guys to please go back and watch that panel. Before we go into the announcements, any final words you want to say about this sermon? We always say that this is just a little.
She's not doing it.
She's not doing it. She's not doing it today. Oh, see, we have Rev doing it too. We have Rev White doing it. See, guys, you know what? We're going to keep her in 2020 right now. We'll bring her in 2021 in a second. But this is just a little bit of what we are fed on Sunday, as well as the worship that we receive on Sunday and Engage Live, guys. And we want you guys to interact with us on Engage Live. It's structured to just help us, better understand the sermon when we have that discussion. But also this month, we're getting to know our bishop with some games, geared to his birthday. Okay. But we want you guys to go back and watch that. Any final words about this sermon, guys? I know I asked you that already and talked, but
I would just echo what you just said, to share it. It's transforming lives month. And like I saw in the comments, Kiwi asked, like, how can we help others come to Christ? Just sharing these broadcasts, sharing the sermons, the messages that Bishop is doing is an excellent way to help lead people to Christ. So, click your share button.
That's right.
Amen.
And I would add, do your homework. He gave you a homework assignment in the message if you were paying attention. He said write things down and get a list in order and go to God with it, and start to audit some things so that you can walk in step with the instruction of the word. Don't just hear it. You got to do what he said to do in the message, and I believe we'll all be blessed for it. So if you missed it, go back.
Yes. And Keisha, we see your comment. We love you too. We love just being a blessing. It's a blessing to us as well coming on here. So we are thankful for you tuning in each and every broadcast. So this week, as you guys know, is the church that never sleeps. Right? So this week coming up, as you guys know, every Monday we have Maximize Monday and the recap. And then, since we gave you that recap of this word, this sermon, in a couple minutes, get your dinner ready. We will be rebroadcasting the Encounter worship service at 7 p.m. So in about 25 minutes, okay? Also, Tuesday, Diamonds Women's Ministry. I need all my women to come out and support the Diamonds Women's Ministry tomorrow for a discussion at 7 p.m. As I say, always, we get fed on Sunday as well as Wednesday, Word Impact Gathering. Bishop and Pastor Nick are also starting a new series for Word Impact, talking about prayer. It's all centered around prayer. So I encourage you guys to please share and come on in. We invite you guys to add your comments as well at 7 p.m. Thursday is the Sound Mind panel. And as we discussed on Engage Live this Sunday, Sound Mind is so important, especially during this time. It's so important to talk about those times. One of the sound minds that we talked about was grief and dealing with grief and everything. So I encourage you guys to please come on out and watch us Thursday at 7 p.m. Saturday, as you always know, On Point Radio with Bishop and Pastor Nick at 9 a.m. And then Emerge and Worship Saturday evening at 6 p.m. for our young adults, for our teenagers, it's for everyone. We encourage you guys. And if you have someone, a teenager, a young adult in your family, please share it with them. It's Transforming Lives Month. And then Sunday, the Encounter services with our 8 and 11 a.m. services, as well as Engage Live at 9:45, where we have the discussion in there, some games, some highlights. We want you guys to look at it, as well as the Best of Bethany airing 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. And back here on Monday for Maximize Monday and the recap. Woo! Told you. Church that never sleeps, guys.
There's a lot going on.
A lot that's going on. But I definitely want to thank everyone on this panel. As I say, each and every week, it's a blessing to have you guys and being so transparent. We ask those questions, not to say we're not perfect at all, but it's so fulfilling to have a real conversation with your church family. So we really appreciate you guys each and every week. And we appreciate you guys for sharing and tuning in as well. We love you guys. We want you to stay tuned to all the content that's coming out this week. All right, Bethany family, be blessed, share, and invite someone. Transforming Lives Month.
Yes. Click the share button.
Click it.
Bye.